Hi, my name is Elise Schmidt, and I will be showing you a presentation about uses and gratification theory. I will be starting off by introducing the founders of uses and gratification theory. These individuals are Elihu Katz, J.G. Blumler, and Michael Gurevich. They first presented this theory in 1974. Although, in the earlier days of mass media, similar theories like mass society theory and limited effects theories were explored. The founders expressed this quote: "Books and cinema have been found to cater to needs concerned with self-fulfillment and self-gratification. They help connect individuals to themselves. Newspapers, radio, and television all seem to connect individuals to society." Now, I will be discussing some background information on uses and gratification theory. At the beginning of mass media, when the penny newspaper, radio, and silent movies were most popular, the mass society theory was introduced. This theory is the idea that average people are helpless victims of powerful mass media. It defined the relationship between audiences and the media they consumed. But over time, the limited effects theories replaced mass society theory because social science and simple observation could not confirm the notion of all-powerful media and media messages. Limited effects theories conceptualize media influence as limited or minimized by some aspects of individual audience members' personal or social lives. There are two different approaches to the limited effects theories, one being the individual differences perspective. This approach sees media's power as shaped by personal factors such as intelligence and self-esteem. An example for better understanding is smart people and more secure people are better able to resist unwanted media impact. The second approach is the social categories model, which views media's power as limited by audience members' associations and group affiliations. An example for this approach would be how Republicans tend to spend time with other Republicans, who help them interpret media messages in a consistent, Republican-friendly manner. This approach successfully limits any influence media messages alone might have. Uses and gratification theory asks the question: what do consumers do with the media? The definition of uses and gratification theory is: uses and gratification theory provides a framework for understanding when and how individuals, media consumers become more or less active and the consequences of that increased or decreased involvement. Here are the 5 basic assumptions. The first assumption is the audience is active and its media use is goal-oriented. The second one is the initiative in linking need gratification to a specific medium choice rests within the audience member. Then, the third assumption is how the media compete with other sources for need satisfaction. The fourth one being how people have enough self-awareness of their media use, interests, and motives to be able to provide researchers with an accurate picture of that use. The fifth and last assumption of uses and gratification theory is value. Judgments of media content can only be assessed by the audience. Going into more depth on the 5 assumptions I just listed, let's begin with the first assumption. The audience is active and its media use is goal-oriented. As you can see on this slide, there is a group of people at a concert, a gentleman texting on his cell phone, and there is a guy passing time by watching television. The concert goers chose to go see a live music event instead of another form of media, like the movies. The young man texting on the phone made a choice to use his cell phone to communicate with others. Lastly, the gentleman watching TV may have just gotten off work and chose TV as his form of media to relax. Assumption 2. The initiative in linking need gratification to a specific medium choice rests with the audience member. In 1972, Dennis McQuail identified 4 categories for audience needs and gratifications. They include diversion, which is escaping from routines or daily problems; personal relationships, which is when people substitute the media for companionship; personal identity, being the ways to reinforce an individual's value; and lastly, surveillance, information about how media will help an individual accomplish something. Assumption number 3. The media compete with other sources for need satisfaction. There are several different platforms of media choices. As you can see on this slide, there is the choice of newspapers, gaming, social media, live concerts, magazines, television programs, email, live lectures, and many more. A quick explanation of Assumption 3 would be one day after getting home from school, I felt the need for a break. I then resorted to social media platforms. On my phone, I have the options of Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok. I decided to browse through Instagram to view posts that my friends and celebrities have posted. I could have picked another platform, but at that time, I felt I would get the most pleasure out of Instagram. Next, I am discussing assumption number 4, which is when people have enough self-awareness of their media use, interests, and motives to be able to provide researchers with an accurate picture of that use. In old theories, the audience was inactive. But now, researchers know that the audience is active in the selection of the media and why their selection fulfills their needs and gratifications. Researchers can gather qualitative and quantitative data from the audience to determine the reasoning of their media choices. Assumption number 5. Value judgments of media content can only be assessed by the audience. This assumption expresses how, depending on the specific person and the specific media type, is then what gives that media type value. Not everyone is interested in the same entertainment. In this assumption, uses and gratification theory argues that individual audience members decide to use certain content for certain pleasure, meaning that the value of different media can only be assessed by the audience. Some forms of media may seem weird and unpleasurable to some people, but provides gratification for the audience who does invest their time into that particular media. For example, some people really enjoyed watching the new Netflix documentary, The Tiger King, while others found little to no interest in watching the show. The type of media an individual consumes is based on personal preference. Now that I have discussed uses and gratification theory and furthered your knowledge on the subject, I now highly encourage you to participate in this activity to better understand how uses and gratification theory affects your life. So, what type of social media do you use? It could be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and/or TikTok. Which of these social media platforms do you use the most? Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok? After picking which social media platform you use the most, please classify which needs and gratifications you experience while using your most used social media. Thank you for watching.